Hi, I'm Sarah Hill, the CEO and co-founder of Bookstr. We are here today with Bethany Mota. She is the author of Make Up Your Mind. You can see it here, and then you can also see it here. Bethany, thank you so much for being on today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Happy to be here.
Great, and also I want to remind you guys to leave your questions for Bethany in the comments, and we will get an answer to you ASAP. We have, I'm checking questions right now on my phone through our Facebook Live, so put those in the comments and we'll get them to Bethany. Okay, first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you.
Serious congratulations.
Thanks so
your
much.
book comes out tomorrow. This is your first book?
Yeah, my first book ever.
Wow.
It was a little scary, but I had been wanting to write a book for a long time, and I just kind of wanted to wait until I felt like I had enough to talk about. And I still have a lot to learn, obviously, but this is just kind of what I've learned so far about a lot of different things in life. So there's like beauty and fashion, it has like all the lifestyle stuff, but then I also personally really love self-help books and self-improvement. And so there's a big chunk of that in this book, just talking about body image and confidence and facing fears, all of that kind of stuff. So I am so happy with the final result, and it's a little surreal, but yeah, it's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's like arts, crafts, inspiration. Really, like, I'm so impressed with your creative breath. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So I would check it
Thanks.
out. All right, so some questions we have for you. Let me pull those up here. The first question that we have is, how has style helped your confidence?
Style?
Yes.
Well, for me, I think it took me a while to figure out what I liked wearing and what my personal style was. In the beginning, when I first started getting into clothing and fashion, I would literally just wear anything that was trendy. Like, I would go to the store, and if it was on the mannequin, that's what I would wear, even if it didn't make sense, because that's all I really knew how to do, was just follow kind of what was put out there for me. And then I realized, oh, I can mix things that I want to mix, and I can, you know, I don't have to shop at these stores. I can like go thrift shopping or go to this store, and like I just started experimenting more with fashion, and I had so much fun doing that. And I realized that I was also like happier, and I felt like I was able to express myself in a different way when I really took advantage of the fact that our style really can express who we are and bits of our personality in a very cool, unique way.
Definitely. Okay, great. And another question we have, what inspired you to write this book?
What inspired me to write it? I think for me, one of my favorite things about being on YouTube is that I'm able to have a personal connection with the people that are watching. I think it's just incredible to me that I can put out a video and then people all around the world can watch it. And when I meet my viewers in person, it's like there's this friendship there. And so writing this book for me was just another way for me to be even more personal and more vulnerable. I talk about a lot of things in the book that are on my YouTube channel, but then there's also a lot that I've actually never spoken about. Like, I talk about dating, which I haven't really spoken about on YouTube. I talk about friendships. I really dive into, like I said before, body image and those things, which I have spoken about before, but not necessarily to the extent that I do in the book. And so that was probably the most important part to me, is just trying to make this book as inspiring and as motivating as I could for the readers, because I know I've been through things, everyone has been through things, and I was cyberbullied when I was around 12 years old, and I just wish that there was like someone I could look to who had been through that, or who could supply some advice. So that is my goal with this book, is to hopefully just help even a few people.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Thanks.
So how has that been? So you've talked about this, but you started out, you were 12, you were cyberbullied from just like like a forum, or?
It was like when MySpace was still around, and it was like a MySpace page.
Aww.
And now it's like, if something like that happened, I wouldn't care.
Oh, it's so different
But
now.
when you're younger, and also that's the first time something like that has happened, and up until that point you never criticized your body in that way.
Yeah.
It's a shock.
It's a vulnerable time.
Yeah, it's like up until that point I never thought about my body in that way. I never thought about like if I was too fat. I never thought about, none of that crossed my mind.
Wow.
And so to see that other people were putting those opinions out there about about me. It was just confusing, and it affected my confidence, my happiness, and essentially it's like what I didn't realize at the time is that I was in control still.
Yeah.
I felt like I wasn't in control because these people were trying to control the situation, but in reality I was in control of how I felt and how I handled it.
Yeah.
And I eventually realized that I was in control when I decided to do something about it, and that's when I started YouTube, which was kind of my outlet at the time. And now I'm like, had that experience not happened, I wouldn't have this book.
Yeah.
Like, so much can change and amazing things can happen when you're going through a difficult experience. And that's why that's also what's in this book, and what I talk about is like understanding that everything in life is temporary. Nothing lasts forever. That goes for good and bad things. So it makes you appreciate the good moments knowing that they won't last. And then also it helps you get through difficult times because you can step back and be like, this isn't my life forever. So what can I learn from this to make this negative experience worth it for me?
Totally.
To make it more of like a growing opportunity for me.
Well, and now think of all the women and men out there who you've been able to help through that one experience.
Yeah, I mean, that's my hope, is just, and that's why opening up and being vulnerable is not something that I'm very good at.
Really?
But
I think you do.
It was a challenge, but I was willing to and excited to, knowing that it could possibly help people that are going through similar things.
Definitely. Absolutely. Okay, we have a ton of questions here. We have a question from Anna. Hi, Anna.
Hi, Anna.
She says, do you have any ideas on what to do to start my own YouTube video?
Ooh, okay. So, first of all, I would say find whatever it is that you really, really love, whatever you're passionate about, if there's something specific that you want to talk about, and not feeling like you have to do what's trending and what everyone else is doing, because that's kind of what I did in the beginning. I felt that I had to follow all the trends and be like this person and that person to be noticed by the audience. And then I realized I just wasn't happy doing that because I wasn't really fulfilling my own passion. And then I, over time, started adjusting my channel and making videos about things that I actually was very excited about. And so now it's expanded into a lot of different categories. Like, I can't even put my channel into a category now because I kind of just gave myself the freedom to do whatever I want. So giving yourself the creative freedom and taking advantage of the fact that you can make videos about whatever you want. Also, I think asking yourself really why you want to do it, because when I started making videos, I mean, it was 8 years ago. I didn't know that I would still be doing it today. Like, I thought maybe I'd upload 2 videos and that'd be it. And basically the point of that is I had no intention of anything coming out of it.
So why did you? Like, how did that keep... I get it. I mean, I get it. But what do you think... Why did you keep doing it?
Because I fell in love with it. I fell in love with... And that's the thing, too. I was making videos about makeup in the very beginning. 13 years old, no idea what I was talking about. But I pretended that I did. And it wasn't the makeup. It was the process of making a video, filming it, editing it, uploading it, and the fact that it was mine. And also the fact that I was able to talk. Like, I was very shy as a kid, and I never gave myself the opportunity to express my opinions and say how I felt because I was too insecure of my own opinions. And this was finally the time that I was like owning my opinions and like speaking up and talking and sharing my opinions with the world. So I just really fell in love with that process. And I think that's very important if you want to be a YouTuber and start a channel, is making sure you love the process, because it also gets difficult. You know, I have moments of self-doubt and feeling like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? This isn't good enough. Why am I a YouTuber? Like, we all go through that process, and if you don't really love it and you don't genuinely have a passion for it, it's very easy to get discouraged and quit because you're focused more on success and numbers, and that's not always going to come when you want it to.
Totally, absolutely. And then I also just wanted to ask, so you were doing that, you were going to school, and I saw like one video where you were going through and doing a room tour, and you had your own like desk and everything, and you're like, this is where I do my videos, and this is where I also do my homework. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how did you do that? We like have a whole operation here to do like what you did or what you're doing, and we don't have I don't have homework or school. So how did you do that?
Yeah, well, I was actually homeschooled. I started homeschooling in like 8th grade, which was around the time that I got into YouTube. So that made it a little bit easier because all of my free time was spent on YouTube. But I mean, I taught myself basically how to produce a video. So I taught myself how to edit. And my first video, I remember I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want my sister to make fun of me. I wasn't about to tell my dad. So I only told my mom because I was like, I need someone's permission, you know? And so my mom let me use the family video camera. I didn't have a tripod, so I just like stacked books on top of each other, opened the windows for lighting. So I just really worked with what I had, and I taught myself everything. Like if I needed to edit something specific, because then I started getting into like graphics and titles, and I was like, I'm so fancy using like text titles. But I would just like YouTube like how-to tutorials on how to do everything, and I still edit my videos now, and it's all because I've just basically taught myself how to do it.
I love it. That's so great. Okay, we have a question from Barana. She says, what was the biggest challenge of writing a book, and what is the biggest challenge of being a YouTuber?
Ooh, biggest challenge of writing a book, I think, well, first of all, it was much harder than I thought it was going to be. It was a long process. I think figuring out what exactly I wanted to put in the book, and sometimes I would just go off and like I'd talk about a subject and then say so much that I'd forget people were actually going to read it, and I was like, oh wait, people are gonna read this. It was just like a diary for me, and I was just going for it. So I think just kind of tailoring it and choosing like the specific DIYs that I wanted to be in it, everything that I wanted it to consist of, and kind of organizing it. I think that was probably the hardest part. Hardest part of being a YouTuber, I would say, the thing with being a YouTuber and any creative job, I think, is that you have to be very emotionally invested in it, because that's when the passion really shows through, because people see you love doing it, and then when they watch it, they love watching it because that happiness shines through. But also with being so emotionally invested in it, if something doesn't go how you plan, you can take it personally, which I've learned not to do, and I've learned how to kind of separate myself from that and know that I'm proud of my work, I'm proud of what I do, but I'm not defined by it. It doesn't define who I am as a person, because when you allow that to define you, it can affect your, you know, the whole like self-confidence, self-esteem thing, and then if you're not feeling good about yourself and your life, you're not going to make good work. It just, when you're happiest, that's when you create the best stuff.
Totally.
And so just like keeping up personal happiness, I think, is something that I've really learned to do. And I've also had to deal with failure and self-doubt a lot. I think now what I've learned is that failure and challenges really do help you grow. Like I said before, I was cyberbullied, and if I wasn't cyberbullied, I wouldn't have started a YouTube channel. And I think it's just important to remember that difficult experiences can really help you learn, and to be able to step back and think like, okay, what can I learn from this? What does this mean? You know, what can I take from this experience to make me wiser and stronger so I can apply that to my career? And so that's probably the most difficult thing, but in a way, it's also been kind of one of the most amazing parts of it, because I feel like through YouTube I've grown a lot as a person in that way.
And it's very important to have
I don't know if any of that made sense. I feel like
it
I was
it
just
totally
rambling
does.
on.
No, it's beautiful. Absolutely. I'm like, you were so savvy and so wise for your 21, 22.
21.
Oh my God. Just wait. I can't even wait to see what you'll be like in 10 years from now. You know, you have such a great perspective.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, we have another question from Michael. I'm writing a book about my life for the first time. I've been through a lot and feel as if it's time to write about them. A few tips from you of how to get started would be awesome. P.S. Full credit to you.
Sweet, that's exciting. I would say just getting started in general. I think that at least that was kind of the hardest step for me, because I was thinking about writing a book for a really long time, and it took me a while before I actually got into it. And even before starting it, I was a little hesitant. I was like, do I really want to like get into this? Because I know it's going to be a lot of work. I know it's going to be very time consuming. But taking that first step really helps just push you into, and I feel like once you get going, you don't want to stop.
Yeah.
Like once I started working on the book, I just wanted to focus on that, and I loved it so much. And I think that goes with so many other things, like even YouTube videos. My first YouTube video, it took me 2 months to finally get the courage to upload it.
Oh my gosh.
And then once I uploaded my first video, I posted the second one like a couple weeks or a week after, and then it just got so much easier.
Yeah.
So I think just pushing yourself to take that first step and understanding that you're never going to feel completely ready to do anything. So you might as well just do it right now.
And it's never going to be perfect
Right.
as well. Like there's just doesn't happen. Because even if you publish something and then you go back to it, you're like, a month later, you're like, oh, I would have done this in
It could
another
always
way.
be better. It could always be better.
Okay. Chauvel says, I'm so proud of her. Oh my God.
Aww.
So sweet.
Sweet.
Kate says, what is one of your favorite things about being a YouTuber? I think we might have sort of covered that, but what is one of the things that you love about it?
I mean, I love the community aspect of it, because just the fact that I feel like I have friends all over the world, which is really cool. And what's awesome too is that my viewers they've started to create bonds with each other, and they're actually friends.
Aww.
So the fact that my channel can be this community and this safe place, because there's negativity online, but there's also a lot of positivity online, and
Totally.
and I want to make sure that my channel is this safe place, this positive place for people to come and just enjoy a video and kind of forget about what's going on for a little bit and make friends. And it's crazy, I'll see them like interacting on Twitter, and they've even met up in real life to go shopping. I'm like,
you're like FOMO.
what about me? Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Also, did you know, Chauvel Hassan says, today is 8 years since you started your YouTube channel and the first day of the tour.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. I woke up this morning so
Wow.
excited. Yeah, people are like posting edits on Instagram and stuff.
Oh my
and
God.
yeah, I posted my first video 8 years ago today.
High five!
It's crazy.
I'm very honored that you're here with
It
us.
was a little shy Bethany.
Girl.
Yeah,
You've come a long way.
it's crazy.
Okay, so let's see. Also, it's Emma's birthday, and she would love Bethany to say happy birthday if you know
Emma?
Emma, yeah.
Happy birthday, Emma. Have an amazing day.
Okay, Emily asks, what are you most proud of with this book?
Most proud of? Ooh, I think just overall, like, it was such a process, and I had such a specific vision for what I wanted it to look like. Even just the individual pages, the fonts, the colors, everything. And I was a little worried going into it that, it's always a concern. Like, what if I have this amazing vision for something and then I do it and it just isn't what I wanted it to be? And when I saw this book, like when I had it in my hands for the first time and like flipped through it, I'm like, this is like exactly what I wanted it to be. And I am just so happy with it. It's an incredible feeling. I think anything, not just a book, but like anything that you create yourself and you work on yourself and you have this idea in your head, to see it actually come to life, it's such an indescribable feeling. And I'm just so grateful for my audience and everything that's happened, because really, like, this just kind of sums up like what happened in the past 8 years, and like my viewers are such a big part of that. Like, everything that I've been through is such a big part of what's in this book.
So do you get into, I know like some of your stuff you're always, and we do it at Bookstr too, but like listening to what your people are saying, so like in the comments or through private messages or whatever, did you include some things? I know you said like you talk about dating in here. Is that because people ask you about your dating life, or did you think like, is that why it's in here?
People do, like, people ask me for advice and things like that. So yeah, that definitely inspired some of the things that I put in here. Also, I kind of just thought of it as like, if I was reading this book, like, what would I want to take from it? What would I be looking for? And so I wanted to make sure that I gave kind of a little bit of everything. So we talk about friendships and family, and I just tried to cover as many things as I could with the knowledge that I have so far.
I love it. I really love that you did that. Okay, let's see. Kate says, Snapchat versus Instagram stories, which do you prefer?
Oh, well,
start a war with this question.
I'm just saying, I haven't Snapchatted in like a month.
Oh my god.
I have been Instagram storying.
Yeah.
Instagram stories. I've been doing that quite a bit. I think it's just because like I'm on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like no offense to Snapchat. Snapchat has amazing filters.
Yeah.
I love their face filters. I still use it for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, just recently I've been using Instagram stories a little more.
Like me too. Elena is wondering, what is your favorite makeup brand?
Favorite makeup brand? I mean, I have a lot. I think it also depends on like what specifically like I want. If it's like foundation, I tend to go for a higher end product.
Yeah.
I mean, Sephora is like one of my favorite stores.
Yeah.
So like Marc Jacobs has a really good one. But then also like mascaras, like all of my mascaras are drugstore for the most part.
Really?
Like Maybelline and L'Oreal, yeah.
Okay.
I just find that because I go through mascara so quickly.
Yeah.
So foundation is something that I would want to invest in and like
Yeah.
have a really good one. And then mascara, eyeliner, that
How
kind of
quickly
stuff.
do you go through a mascara?
Maybe it's not that quickly. Maybe like
I mean, I don't know.
feels like a couple months. Or
Okay,
something. But
yeah.
the thing is I like to try a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's probably better if I just stick with like the drugstore mascaras because I want to buy so many so often.
Yeah.
And they have so many cool ones. Like they're always coming out with like new. I'm like, I didn't know that I needed the butterfly lash effect.
I know.
Like now I know.
They're
That's
so
a
on
thing.
top of it. So on top of it. Okay, who is your favorite YouTuber and why?
Oh, that's so hard. Okay, I mean, I don't have a favorite YouTuber. I know what I love is through being on YouTube, I've been able to become friends with so many YouTubers, and I have so much respect for every YouTuber because it truly is. It can be a tough job, and
Yeah.
it takes. I mean, I've had like so many sleepless nights editing and all of this stuff. So you just have a respect for everyone in the community, and I love everybody. I mean, she always comes to mind, but like I love Miranda Sings.
Yeah.
Colleen, she is so sweet. She's an amazing person, first off, and I just love the Miranda Sings character.
Yeah.
And my friend Tyler Oakley and I did a collab where we dressed up as Miranda Sings and like did the whole voice and acted it out, and it was like time of my life. So
Did Miranda Sings respond? Or?
well, we called her during the video, and she was like giving us tips on being Miranda, and she was
my
like, "You
gosh.
guys can never be me," and we're like, "We know," but yeah. So yeah, I don't know why she always comes to mind. I just love the character. It's so fun.
That's great. Sabina says, did you get emotional while writing the book?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I dove into a lot of more personal things, some things that I had never spoken about before, family things, just a lot of stuff. So it was a little scary in the beginning because talking about very personal things, it feels very vulnerable, and it's scary knowing that people are going to read it. How are they going to take it? How will they respond to that? So I definitely did get emotional at certain points, but that to me, it was kind of like a sign. I was like, okay, I think that means that, you know, I'm getting somewhere, and this will hopefully mean, if it's making me emotional, then hopefully it will mean something to the readers.
Absolutely. I had a writing professor once say that if the writer or author isn't getting, you know, emotional during that scene or chapter, then the reader won't either. So,
Right.
you know, I think that's a great sign. All right, we're hit the 20-minute mark, so if you guys have questions, be sure to get them in there now so that we can hopefully get to them. We'll take a few more until we have to wrap up. This next question, it says, will the book be available worldwide?
Yeah.
Yeah? So yeah, no matter where you are, you can get one.
You can get one.
And then we also have, how do you find your motivation?
My motivation, I think kind of everywhere. Here's the thing, like my audience, first of all, like they motivate me so much. I think whenever I'm having moments where I feel doubtful about what I'm doing and I like go online and I see their support and their love, that encourages me to continue doing what I'm doing. And then also remembering why I got into it in the first place. I think it's really easy to get distracted by so many things, especially with social media. It's really easy to get caught up in like numbers and views and all of those things. And whenever I kind of notice that I'm getting into that mindset, I just go back to like, why did I make the first video? Oh, it was because I was looking for an outlet. I was feeling insecure. I wasn't happy in my life. And I started to feel happy and confident again. And that was, before a lot of people were even watching.
Yeah.
So if I could be content back then, why can't I be content now? And
yeah.
then I'm like, oh, okay, that's silly. I shouldn't be so caught up in things that aren't that important. I have to go back to the passion and why I started.
Absolutely. Definitely. Do you have any advice for others who are victims of bullying or maybe going through a bullying situation right now?
Yeah, so when I went through my bullying experience, that was my first time, like I said, going through something like that. So I didn't really know how to handle it, but I let it affect me so much. Like it started with me just being shocked, and then I started being insecure, and then I started believing everything that they were saying. Because I thought if not just one person is saying this, but multiple people are saying this about me, maybe it is true. Maybe I am these things. Maybe what they're saying about my body and my appearance is true. And that I had zero confidence at that time. Mm-hmm. And it took a while to kind of recover from that. And I still have days where I look in the mirror and I'm like, but what I've learned is to never place my happiness in someone else's hands and never rely on someone to make me feel validated and important, mm-hmm. because it's just not reliable. Like, you might get a compliment one day and you're gonna feel great, but then what if you don't get that the next day? Then you're not gonna feel good.
Yeah.
So it's knowing who you are and not relying on anyone to give you that. So people ask me like how I handle hate comments. I don't let any of it in, but I also don't let compliments in either. Like, I appreciate them, but I already know who I am, so any opinion that people have of me is just kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because unless it's like a friend telling me I'm, being out of line, you know what I mean? But like, as far as self-worth and self-love, that's something that I know it has to come from me. And also, it doesn't happen overnight. Like, you can't just say, I'm going to be confident, and I'm going to be confident forever, and I'm always going to be confident. Like, no, it takes maintenance. It's like something I heard a while ago that I really loved. It's kind of like sweeping a floor, like you have to sweep your floor kind of daily, and that's basically what maintaining confidence is to me. It's like you have to remember to keep it up, and it's not just like it clicks one day and you're confident forever. It takes maintenance. So remembering that, and just not relying on people to make you feel important, and knowing that you are regardless of other people's opinions.
That's so beautiful. I love it so much.
Thanks.
Seriously, it's gorgeous. Okay, we have a few more questions and then we're going to wrap up, sadly. Do you have any advice to aspiring writers?
Ooh, I would say if it feels uncomfortable, to just kind of go for it and take the risk, because there were so many moments when writing the book that I was like, don't know if I want to talk about this, like maybe I shouldn't put that in there, like no, this is too much. And I put it in anyway, and then reading it all the way through, I was so happy that I put those things in there that were a little bit scary to put out there and a little bit uncomfortable to talk about. I think just being very vulnerable and being willing to take risks will only add to what you're creating.
Absolutely. Do you have any future plans that your fans can look forward to? I know that you have a book tour coming like now.
Yeah, now.
Tomorrow.
Soon. Lots of videos coming up, and book tour, just working on that. A couple other things that not yet, but
Okay, and then they can go to your website, your YouTube channel. What is your website?
For YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, you just type in Bethany Mota and it'll bring up all the things. Yeah.
And then you don't have a website up yet, or do you?
Just a Bethany Mota website? No, I don't have a Bethany Mota website.
You need to do that.
Get on that.
You need to get on that.
I mean,
you will.
Yeah.
And then Twitter, Instagram, where can everyone follow you?
Twitter is Bethany Mota. Instagram is Bethany Noel M.
Okay.
It's a little long.
Okay.
I had to use my middle name. And I think and then Facebook is Bethany Mota.
Okay. And then before we go, just one last question. It says, Morgan out there wants advice on being confident. So I think
being confident. I mean, we kind of spoke to this. Yeah, I would say just knowing your worth, and I think self-love is so important. I think we get really caught up on small things and feeling like we have to look a specific way because of society. I used to work, like I work out now, and I try to eat as healthy as I can now, but it's for a completely different reason than it was a few years ago. When I used to work out a few years ago, it was, oh my gosh, this girl looks like this, I need to look like that, and I'll be important, people will like me more if I look this way, I'll be more desirable. And I wasn't happy when I was working out and eating healthy. Even though I was seeing some results, I just wasn't genuinely happy because I felt like I was doing it for something or someone other than myself, because I was. So making sure you're doing things for you and you're never changing who you are to be accepted, and not freaking out over small little imperfections. Like I've really, it's taken time, but something I try to get myself to do is genuinely appreciate little flaws that I see in myself, or things that wouldn't be seen as perfect. I try to really appreciate those things. And then I find that translating into people around me, whereas like friends and family members, if I see like things they're insecure about, I genuinely love those things. And I'm like, I love that. And then they start to love it. And I think when you can appreciate it, it really changes perspective, because it's like, I have a body, first of all. Like, that's pretty great, you know? I'm able to be alive and live and experience things through this body that I was given. Why compare it to that one? Because that's not mine. This is mine, and I should take care of this. And, you know, this is what's going to take me through the rest of my life. So I want to be healthy because of me.
Totally, 100%. Bethany, you are so sweet. I can't even recommend this book enough. It's amazing. It has everything in there, from DIY things to life advice and personal stories on Bethany. So I would pick it up. I really enjoyed flipping through it. So you guys get it anywhere books are sold, and we will see you here again shortly. And thank you, Bethany, for coming on.
Thank you. This was fun.